The doors to the Viridian Tea House are open once more. Hello everyone. I've got quite a bit to talk about today, but before I dive into the books, the tea, and movies, I just want to say that I recently returned to the Golden Farmers Market, which is on Saturdays starting in June all the way through October. This is my third year doing the market. I think so, yeah. But I truly enjoyed it. It was good seeing friends and meeting new people and having great conversations. And it was so successful that my inventory is cleared out. So I'm down to 3 blends and barely that. So give me a couple of days and I will be replenishing very soon. And because I will not be at the Wheat Ridge Farmers Market this Wednesday, I don't know when this is actually going to post to YouTube, so maybe I shouldn't even say it, but I'm also doing the Fiction Makers Market at Fiction Beer Brewing Company in Denver. And it's this Saturday, and the hours are, I think, from 12 to 4 or 12 to 5. But I will put information on this video once it's been uploaded. So without further ado and me confusing myself with more dates, let's get started. So I want to talk about the video first. So big shout out to Arapahoe Library District for having this movie. And I located it on the Cohen Media Group channel on Amazon Prime, which I will definitely be getting because of this movie. And it is called the Aspern Papers. The cover's cut because this is from the library, but so I kind of have a little quest of mine to watch movies that I've never heard of and never seen before, just to kind of see what's out there. And I've never seen this movie before, but my boyfriend and I watched it last night. We both, it wasn't just me, we both enjoyed it. So let me just read the back of it for you. Set in Venice in the late 19th century and based on Henry James's eponymous novella, The Aspern Papers, is a story of obsession, grandeur lost, and dreams of Byronic adventures. Ambitious editor Morton Vent is fascinated by the romantic poet Geoffrey Aspern and by his icon's short and wildly romantic life. Having traveled from America to Venice, he is determined to get his hands on the letters Aspern wrote to his beautiful lover and muse, Juliana Bordereau. So the cast of characters, let's see, Jonathan Rhys-Meyers, which if you've never heard of him before, he was in The Tudors. He was also Bend It Like Beckham, Velvet Goldmine, and the Woody Allen film Match Point, and a plethora of other movies. Vanessa Redgrave and Joely Richardson, whom I found out, I'm looking at her on Wikipedia because it was easy. She is the daughter of Vanessa Redgrave, and her full name is Joely Kim Richardson. And I was like, I guess I was meant to watch this movie, but I've never read anything by Henry James before. Never. I've seen a lot of period movies that were inspired by his works, but I've never actually read the books before. And I said, this year, I am going to attempt to read several of his books because this was a phenomenal movie. As they put on the Washington Post, smart, literary, and nuanced, which was true. I enjoyed the costumes. I enjoyed the story. All three of the actors and actresses were phenomenal. Jonathan Rhys-Meyers played a very convincing American. As my boyfriend put it, he was Boston before they called it Baston. And also with Vanessa Redgrave and Joely Richardson, they just made a wonderful and dynamic trio of a tour de force of acting. So yes, this is available through the Cohen Media Group. So if you have this on Prime, you're able to watch it, but it's called the Aspern Papers. And once again, many thanks to Arapahoe Libraries for having this DVD, and I will be watching this a lot in the not too distant future. So in terms of books, let's see, both of these come from Denver Public Library. It's a stack. I'm telling you, it's a stack of library books that I'm trying to get through and review. So the first book he's one of my dark idols, and I don't know how I learned about him, but it's been quite some time. But when I started reading his work, I thought, oh my gosh, this scandalous. Like, if I lived during this period of time, I would have been clutching my pearls while reading his poetry. And it is Charles Baudelaire, The Flowers of Evil, Les Fleurs du Mal. This is an incredible work. There's so many different versions of it that you can purchase or check out in your library, but this is done through, let's see, who published this? Norton and Company. But this is a fantastic translation of his poetry. And you also get it not just in English, but also in French. So let's see, I had a list of poems that I truly did enjoy that I was going to read. Let's see. Actually, let's do The Flowers of Evil. Yeah, okay. So this is called To the Reader. For all of us, greed, folly, error, vice, exhaust the body and obsess the soul. And we keep feeding our congenial remorse, the same way vagrants nurse their lice. Our sins are stubborn, our repentance weak. When we confess, we ask high premiums. Assuming cheap tears will expunge our crimes, we gladly walk the same old muddy track. Thrice potent Satan, cushioned on perdition, lulls our enchanted minds incessantly. A perfect alchemist, he boils away the valuable ore of our volition. The devil guides us like a puppet master. Disgusting objects please us very well. Each day we take another step toward hell, unflinching through a putrid lack of luster. I mean, can you just imagine? Just let your mind run with this. In just the way that some broke debacle, kisses and nips an old whore's martyred tit, we steal in passing off limits delight and squeeze it like a seasoned orange dry. The ranks of demons reveling in our brains, the multitudes of maggots swarm and seethe, and death, invisible rider, when we breathe, descends into our lungs and softly keens. Why haven't arson, poison, rape, the knife embroidered their enticing images into our sad lives' tedious tapestries? Sadly, our spirits don't have nerve enough. There among all the jackals, panthers, mutts, monkeys and vultures, scorpions and snakes, those howling, yelping, grunting flocks and packs, that infamous menagerie of our rots, there's one most ugly, false, and dirty birth, though hardly moving, uttering no grand sound. He'd gladly make a shambles of this land, and yawning, swallow the entire earth. Boredom. Moist-eyed he dreams while pulling on a hookah pipe of guillotine-cleft necks. You, reader, know this tender freak of freaks, hypocrite reader, mirror man, my twin. He was, I think, the founder of the decadent movement, and so I'll just read the dust jacket for you. Known to his contemporaries primarily as an art critic, but ambitious to secure a more lasting literary legacy, Charles Baudelaire, a Parisian bohemian, spent much of the 1840s composing gritty, often perverse poems that expressed his disgust with the banality of modern city life. First published in 1857, the book that collected these poems together, Les Fleurs du Mal, was an instant sensation, earning Baudelaire plaudits and simultaneously disrepute. Only a year after Gustave Flaubert had endured his own public trial for published indecency for Madame Bovary, A French court declared Les Fleurs de Mal an offense against public morals, and 6 poems within it were immediately suppressed, a ruling that would not be reversed until 1949, nearly a century after Baudelaire's untimely death. I mean, my God, what a legacy. Ugh. Subsequent editions expanded on the original, including new poems that have since been recognized as Baudelaire's masterpieces, producing a body of work that stands as the most consequential, controversial, and influential book of poetry from the 19th century. And Charles Baudelaire was from 1821 to 1867. He was a French poet, critic, essayist, and translator. He is buried in the Cimetière du Montparnasse in Paris. He was very much a part of the decadent movement, like with Aubrey Beardsley and Oscar Wilde, and the poems are just this gritty look at life and ourselves and our vices and the things that we will willingly give into and hate ourselves the next day. All of this and so much more in Les Fleurs de Mal. And I give this 5 pots of decadent pearl clutching tea from Viridian Tea House. I have a copy. Oh yeah, back over there. And it has an introduction by Jean-Paul Sartre, and it's all in French. My copy is. And like I said, I've read different versions, but this one I do like the most. So if you're into really good poetry, really good French poetry, decadence in its hideous and delicious form, Les Fleurs de Mal by Charles Baudelaire. Merci beaucoup from the grave. Merci beaucoup. So the final book, this is one that I've been wanting to read for quite some time, and thanks to Denver Public Library, specifically Eugene Field Branch, for having this book. So let me start with a preface. I love the strange and unusual, and I know that that's kind of, it's like, duh, really? I'm fascinated with history, and I'm fascinated with sordid history. Like, for many of you know, one of my tea blends was inspired by the Roman Emperor Caligula. There you go. Another subject matter that I'm fascinated with are insane asylums, just the history behind it. And this particular book, Asylum Inside the Closed World of State Mental Hospitals, is the creme de la creme of books involving this subject. Photographs by Christopher Payne with an essay by Oliver Sacks. And let's just read a little bit. Let's see. For more than half the nation's history, vast mental hospitals were a prominent feature of the American landscape. From the mid-19th century to the early 20th, over 250 institutions for the insane were built throughout the United States. In 1948, they housed more than 500,000 patients. The blueprint for these hospitals was set by Pennsylvania Hospital Superintendent Thomas Story Kirkbride, a central administration building flanked symmetrically by pavilions and surrounded by lavish gardens with pastoral vistas. Kirkbride and others believed that well-designed buildings and grounds, a peaceful environment, a regimen of fresh air, and places for work, exercise, and cultural activities would heal mental illness. But in the second half of the 20th century, after the introduction of psychotropic drugs and policy shifts toward community-based care, patient populations declined dramatically, leaving many of these beautiful, massive buildings and the patients who lived in them neglected and abandoned. Architect and photographer Christopher Payne spent 6 years documenting the decay of state mental hospitals like these, visiting 70 institutions in 30 states. Through his lens, we see splendid palatial exteriors and crumbling interiors, chairs stacked against walls with peeling paint in a grand hallway, brightly colored toothbrushes still hanging on a rack, stacks of suitcases never packed for the trip home. Accompanying Payne's striking and powerful photographs is an essay by Oliver Sacks, who worked at a state mental hospital in the Bronx for 25 years. Sacks pays tribute to Payne's photographs and to the lives once lived in these places, quote unquote, where one could be both mad and safe. This was a sad book to read. It really was, because in going through reading the introduction and then starting the book, it starts with the outside of many of the facilities, and then with each photograph, the way that Christopher Payne did it, it's like walking through one large asylum. So you go from the grounds and the exterior all the way inside to the lavish ballrooms and the rooms, places where they had the toothbrushes, places where they had the farms outside, greenhouses, all the way to the coffins, the cemeteries with barely a marker, and to cans of unclaimed copper cremation urns. And this is an Oregon State Hospital in Salem, Oregon. So in dealing with life and with death, all in this used to be self-contained world of the mental asylum. And I remember when I started reading this book, I immediately had questions, because, I wonder, it's like, well, wait a minute. So they're not being used anymore. They're just rotting, and they're just these left out to pasture kind of buildings that some of them, they're partially being used, and others were just left to decay and become part of nature again. And you wonder about the patients, what happened to them? Because there was one, what's the one picture that really, really got me? Let's see, where did it go? Well, I'm just going to keep talking, but this made me sad, because the photographs do show this other world that not too many people knew about, unless if you had a family member who was sent to a state hospital like this. But in seeing these photographs and seeing, you don't see anyone, you don't see any people in any of these photographs. It's not haunting, but it's just a part of our history that's almost kind of put to the side or brushed underneath a rug. Where's the, I can't seem to find it, but let's see here. Here we go. Cemetery, Connecticut Valley State Hospital in Middleton, Connecticut. Oh, this book is heavy. Hope I don't tear it. But you see just the markers of the dead. And let's see if I can find that one picture. Please forgive me. I just wanted to show you guys this one picture. It's basically all of these suitcases that are stacked on top of each other. And it just kind of sends shivers down my spine when I first saw it. Where did it go? Talk amongst yourselves. Is that it? No. Here we go. Oh, and yeah, so there's a story behind this particular photograph. It has sort of something to do with me. So I found it. This is patient suitcases in the ward attic, Bolivar State Hospital in Bolivar, Tennessee. Oh, this book is heavy, but I don't know if you can see that or not, but all those suitcases of patients that they're just left. Now, the story that I have is this. If I remember correctly, I knew of someone who worked at Bolivar, and I remember when I was younger visiting him, I think, and we were in like a lobby, and I remember it was very nice and quite plush, and looked very nice. And I remember actually before we went into the lobby, I saw these people dressed in white just kind of wandering around the grounds, and I think I was told that they were patients. And then when we went inside to kind of like a little side hallway or a lobby, it was very nice. I do remember that. And I also remember that there was a snake that was crawling around, and I think I jumped on top of a table or something like that, but the snake was harmless. But yeah, this is a world that not a lot of people know about, unless if it's, I hate to say romanticized, but romanticized in movies, with like Renfield with his straitjacket laughing, talking about flies and blood is the life. But in America, they were staples of this country, and they were self-contained communities where it was, as Oliver Sacks said it, one could be both mad and safe. Before it wasn't about, it was about taking care of the patient and making sure they had social activities, and making chairs, or making growing vegetables, or growing flowers, or getting exercise, things like that. And then once the drugs were introduced, and then you saw less care of the patients, and then more abuse, and then eventually many of them shut down. So let's see if I can find another picture. Let's see. What's a colored one? Oh yeah, this is Harlem Valley State Hospital in Wingdale, New York, the one on the left. But they're just sitting there, letting nature claim them again, or being demolished. But this book was sad to read. It was fascinating. It really was fascinating because, like I said, the way that Christopher Payne set up the photographs, it was like taking a tour into all of these state mental hospitals until the very end, when the patients would be buried. And it was fascinating, and it was sad. It really was. But it opened my eyes to the truth about a part of this country's history. So for Asylum Inside the Closed World of State Mental Hospitals by Christopher Payne, it receives 5 pots of tea from Viridian Tea House. I'm gonna tag Mr. Payne on this video and Mr. Sacks and just say, if you see this video, thank you very much for creating this book. Thank you. My eyes have been opened quite a bit, and can't really go back. So, but thank you. Thank you very much. So on to the tea portion, so I get myself into a little bit of a better mood. This is Lion's Mane Lemonade in my lovely Boulder Bookstore mug from Fresh Off the Cap in Denver, Colorado, right here. And the ingredients are honeybush with lion's mane mushrooms, lemon, and strawberries. Unfortunately, I used all of it, and I should have put the used part into a glass so you can see it. But I will say that the smell as it was steeping was like, ooh, I can't wait to try this. And I'm getting very much the lemon and the strawberries. It's a deep kind of orangey reddish color, of course, with the honey bush. So my first time trying Lion's Mane Lemonade from Fresh Off the Cap. Oh, that's good. That's good. I only bought 2 teas from Fresh Off the Cap, the Energize, which I reviewed in an earlier video, and Lion's Mane Lemonade. Both of these are just phenomenal. And I like mushrooms anyway. So yeah, I'm getting a taste of the Lion's Mane, but it's working well with the honey bush, lemon, and strawberries. Like as I'm talking, I'm still getting the lemon and strawberries and the lion's mane. which, if I remember correctly, lion's mane mushroom tastes like lobster when you cook it. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I think that's the taste of lion's mane. It is kind of interesting when you see it though, because it looks like the mane off of a lion, kind of white, and you're like, am I supposed to eat this? And it's really quite good. I remember when I prepared my first kind of lion's mane. I think I just had it sauteed in like olive oil, butter, and garlic. And it did taste kind of seafoody. I think it was lion's mane. If I'm wrong, I do apologize. But this is a very good cup of tea. And since it's made with honeybush, there's no caffeine. But yeah, once again, this is keep looking to my notes here. Lion's Mane Lemonade from Fresh Off the Cap in Denver, Colorado. And this is honeybush, lion's mane, lemon, and strawberries. So yeah, this is excellent. This is the second time I've tried them. Excellent, excellent tea. I'm getting something else and I'm not really sure what it is, but I mean, it's nothing bad. This is really good. I would like to try this ice sometime. Yeah, this is excellent. Thank y'all so much. Thank you. So I'm looking at the time. Wow, I've gone over. I was talking a lot, sorry. I had to show you those photographs of Asylum. So many thanks to, well, from Beyond the Grave, Monsieur Baudelaire, also Christopher Payne and Oliver Sacks, and the Cohen Media Group for that wonderful movie, The Aspern Papers, and also Fresh Off the Cap for the Lion's Mane Lemonade. So let's do a quick breathing meditation. It's not going to be too long. This is just a pause in your life, in your day. Make sure you have a cup of your favorite tea or water. And as you guys all know, it's all about just breathing. No chanting, no mantra, none of that. We're just going to pause for just a few minutes. So if you're ready, let's begin. And now let's end this meditation with a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Slowly open your eyes or allow your eyes to come into focus. And now take a sip of your tea or your water. Okay, I'm getting more of the strawberries now, and everything else is kind of taking a back seat, but still, this is incredible. Lion's Mane Lemonade by Fresh Off the Cap. So, thank you again for watching this video and watching me mess up and say things that I really didn't mean to say. And thank you so much for watching. And if you like what you see, please give it a thumbs up or give it a comment. And yeah, just let me know. But until then, take care of yourself and each other. Raise your teacup high. And remember, to drink tea is to enjoy life. Take care, y'all, and I'll see y'all soon. Bye for now.